Rarely is the question asked, is our children learning?
My fellow Americans.
Corporations are people, my friend.
Our country is in serious trouble.
I never sent any classified material.
Man is not free unless government is limited.
Bringing you opinions on historic, current, and international politics. Welcome to the Unnamed Political Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 8th episode of the Unnamed Political Podcast. I'm your host, Jack Horvath.
I'm Walburger.
And today we're going to be discussing some recent news and, I guess, just news that's...
Kind of a weekly update thing, something I think we may try to get into a groove of, unless we have a particular topic we want to...
Like something to focus on. Yeah. I got you.
Alright, so I will go and outline our topics for us today. We are going to be first discussing the ongoing refugee crisis in Syria and the refugee crisis coming from Syria, obviously.
It's all over the world now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, some very recent news from today. The Prime Minister of Australia is going to change. This may not seem like it will affect you. Might not, but it could.
Probably.
It's just interesting. That depends. Alright, we're going to be discussing the fact that the second Republican debate is coming up and how things have changed from the first one, how that could change. Then we'll be discussing Pope Francis and his visit to the U.S. coming up this month.
Yep.
Hillary Clinton, her campaign, is taking some hits, but apparently it seems like she may be doing everything she can to recover.
That's
and
true.
See if it'll work for her. Mm-hmm. And other things that could affect the Democratic primaries. Obviously, this past week was the 14th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. We're going to be discussing just briefly touching on, we may go into great detail at a later time, but just how it has obviously affected the U.S. and possibly what the U.S. would have been like without it. Mm-hmm. Like that. And finally, we're going to be discussing China's economy, which seems may not be as strong as we previously thought.
That's for sure.
All right, you want to dive right in?
Right to the refugee crisis?
Right to the refugee crisis. So, Jack, what are your thoughts on the crisis?
All right, so, millions of migrants coming from Syria all over the world.
Apparently, 1 out of every 2 Syrians is no longer living in Syria.
11 million people to think about. I think the population of Syria is like 22 million people.
Oh, yeah.
But they haven't updated their census because of the civil war, so who knows how the
it's around 10 million is what most people say, but I mean, it's insane. 1 out of every, I believe, 4 refugees in the world is a Syrian refugee.
Really? Is that really true?
Don't quote me on that, but I know it's an extremely high number like that. It's either 20% or 25%, I believe.
That's still huge for stats. And people, I mean, put it in our shoes. Put the entire situation. Maybe that's doesn't sound right, but would we accept those refugees as willingly?
Well, I feel we
probably wouldn't, to be honest.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you compare this to the illegal immigration issue,
coming from mostly Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do think also there is a bit of a difference there. If you say we're being hypocrites if you support countries taking in refugees, because obviously I won't say majority or minority, just because again we are teenagers and don't have all the facts. Mm-hmm. But it seems like it's not the majority of people fleeing Mexico aren't fleeing a civil war. No, they're trying to get a better opportunity. But in some cases, obviously, they are fleeing violence back home. Mm-hmm. But not all. For the most part, Latin America isn't torn up in a world war with the Spanish-speaking world.
Right. No. Did you see that video of the camera woman kicking all the people that come across?
I've not seen it, but I was reading about it. That's the Hungarian camera woman. Oh, my word.
One of the parts of the video is that a grandpa is running with a girl on her back, and he trips them over, and he falls on the girl. It's terrible. It's terrible stuff that she did, and she got fired from the station. It was a nationalist. The TV station was heavily far right wing. It was aligned with a very far right political party there.
So when we're talking about far right politics or just conservative politics, it is interesting that the German government is obviously taking in so many refugees, when in fact Chancellor Angela Merkel is a member of the Christian Democratic Union, which is a center-right, the major catch-all party of the center-right in Germany.
Right. It is
and obviously, actually, this is, I won't say it's beneficial, because obviously the fact that they have to flee is for horrible reasons.
Definitely.
But for Germany, this could be good due to the fact that I've been reading, Germany has the lowest birth rate in the world. I believe it's 8.2 children.
Canwood.
Actually, no. I believe it's 8.2 children for every 1,000 people.
That's really low.
Oh yeah, Germany does not have a stable population growth whatsoever. I mean, it's just shrinking. And having these refugees adding to the workforce and the rapidly aging population will hopefully be very beneficial if they can get them to work. Now there have been issues, obviously, where in many of the cases the refugees who aren't exclusively fleeing from Syria, from the Middle East and North Africa, those regions in general, aren't really used to working in this typical Western style workday.
Manufacturing. Yeah, I get you.
So they've said they need to start to try to integrate them into more of a system where it's the 8-hour workday. In some case, they've stated where they will work for 3 days nonstop and then have 3 weeks off, and then work for 3 days nonstop, 3 weeks off. That sort of system. And obviously, they aren't used to the work system here. So if they can integrate it, it could help contribute to Germany's workforce.
I think another worry that comes to mind when they're coming across is that some of them could be radical.
I think that's definitely.
And they could cause. That's why the America's a little bit weary about taking them in, because they're worried some people that could do that.
So I think there obviously is that potential for that, and also I personally don't think the majority of refugees at all are radical, but it's a very easy system for radical groups to put in a couple of radical people to get through the system, which it's easy to be abused, basically.
Definitely.
Which could be an issue. And I think if you have, as we stated in our previous podcast, if you have even one issue with a act of terrorism caused by a refugee, that could destroy the whole system.
Exactly, and they wouldn't be able to come.
And obviously it's an expensive system for Germany. I mean, they need to contribute a lot, but I think in the long term, it could benefit Germany quite a bit.
Germany's saying that they could take, I think it was 500,000 immigrants a year for several years.
I know, and if Germany is able to integrate them into their society and make them citizens and that sort of thing, it could definitely benefit them. And I know this may seem hypocritical because we've stated that we feel you shouldn't be granting amnesty to illegal immigrants in the U.S.
But these are refugees.
Not only one are these refugees, but secondly, the U.S. doesn't have the issue of a unstable birth rate with a population that, if in theory, would no longer exist in several hundred years, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now, so with that, also, I think in the U.S., I think we also, with immigrants, we definitely need to allow immigrants into our country. We do. Because, but I think, again, we need to let them in legally and get them through the system. Because if we just let them run across. We just let them run across and then take advantage of our systems, it can be a real pain. I mean, it's not exactly, I would say, fair where if you have just somebody who isn't a citizen of the U.S. comes in, takes advantage of the medical, with Obamacare granting, you automatically get free medical treatment, whereas a hardworking American is now forced to pay tax dollars for that person who's not even a citizen, who's doing all those things. That just does not seem fair.
No, not at all. Not at all.
However, if they were able to come in legally and then contribute to the workforce and that sort of thing and become a legal immigrant, then so I think it's different in that respect.
Definitely.
Now,
that was a good time.
Well, and also with remarks from the former head of MI5 was speaking to CNN the other day, and he said that also what we have been focused, people just haven't really cared about the Syrian refugee issue, which has been going on for quite a while. Definitely. Just obviously not as extreme, and we haven't had major acts of terrorism, which thankfully shows that, I mean, these aren't bad people. They're fleeing for they're fleeing because they're fleeing from bad people.
They're being persecuted, most of them, for being Christians.
In that case, and also just the fact that there's no really good scenario there. You either have to deal with Bashar al-Assad, who's killing his own people, or you have to deal with the rebels, some of which are obviously groups who could help bring a better Syria, but then also you have
radical terrorists,
such as ISIS is one of the, probably I think now one of the, if not the biggest group fighting Bashar al-Assad.
Definitely now.
Which is not a good conflict to be caught in the middle of.
Definitely.
So I think you have to have a lot of sympathy for these guys, but also. What is also, I think there's probably, according to the MI5 chief, that one of the more worrying scenarios is just the number of Europeans themselves who are becoming radicalized or joining ISIS.
Yeah.
I mean, this was obviously seen with teenagers, girls who are our age in England going to ISIS. I mean, it's shocking.
It is shocking
that
the way they treat them, too.
Our age, or if not younger than us, who are going to
younger than us.
Yeah. I mean, we're not even old enough to drive, and they're
Yeah, and they're
flying to the Middle East to join a radical terrorist
terrorist.
I know, it's crazy.
It sure is. My God.
But, so yeah, I think this, we will definitely be seeing more people pay attention to this.
This is going to be a big issue.
And I think, obviously, I don't think it's the fact that we have to pay attention to it is good, because it's what we're, but I think it's good that we're at least, people are starting to care more about international issues and about seeing that if things that happen, like it's just, the world isn't just what's in front of you, I guess. There's more out there.
Definitely.
All right, so that was a good topic. How about we briefly cover the recent news from Down Under?
And this was yesterday or today?
This was
this is recent.
This was today. I'm not. At least we heard about the news today. I'm not totally sure exactly when it happened in Australia, but with recent ballot counting, Tony Abbott will be resigning as Prime Minister of Australia,
and a Liberal Party leader will resume.
And we'll now have. I will now be.
They're both liberals, though, right?
Well, I'm
Abbott
not
was
sure.
liberal.
Now, but so Tony Abbott will be. I believe. I'm terribly sorry. I'm not as well versed in Australian politics as I would like,
He'll be the what? What are you trying to say?
So he is being outed, and now the Liberal Party is taking over. However,
They're both Liberal Party.
in Australia, yes, they were both members of the Liberal Party. Yes, right. But actually, in Australia, the Liberal Party is a center-right party.
Australia is very conservative. I think.
Australia overall, they do have very liberal gun laws,
That's
very
true.
strict gun laws. But overall, Australia
the
is
Commonwealth
a center-right
I think so.
leaning, just based on their government. Same with New Zealand. New Zealand has a center-right-ish country, and if we want to mention, New Zealand is actually maybe changing their flag solely to differentiate themselves from the Australian flag.
That's true, because you can get those confused sometimes.
Yes, they are very difficult. Yes, for those of you who don't know, I believe it is, and if we're wrong, this just goes to show. But the Australian flag
Has like
and the
7
New Zealand
stars.
flag are almost identical, with the Australian flag having 7 pointed white stars forming a cross on it's a particular constellation, the name of which I can't name off the top of my head, whereas New Zealand has 5 pointed stars, which are red with a white outline.
Those represent the provinces and territories, or?
The number of stars on the number of points on the Australian flag stars do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the new Prime Minister will be named Malcolm Turnbull. And
I heard of it, yeah.
yes, but this doesn't exactly spell a huge change in Australia's government at all.
Not really, no.
Because the Liberal Party still stays in control, and again, it is confusing, but the Liberal Party has conservative or center-right policies.
That is weird.
It is, it's not weird to them. It's the same in some
I'm not aware of
some areas in Europe. Liberal Party, or like countries that are said to be liberal parties, are also center-right.
Right.
Because it's just the terms, they can mean very different things. I mean, obviously, even everywhere else except for the U.S., or in most places, the color red is a liberal, symbolizes liberal politics.
That's right.
Blue symbolizes conservative. So
Definitely.
it's yeah, it's confusing. But all right. So
Tony Abbott.
Brief. We just thought, Tony Abbott.
Why not? Because it's in the news.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Poor guy.
So, I think it's the 16th of September is the CNN Republican debate.
Second Republican debate. Yes.
At the Reagan Library.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
Interesting.
this will be very interesting. Not just clearly Reagan's going to be mentioned quite a lot, and he was mentioned a lot in the first debate too.
He sure was. Because they're trying to,
Yeah. Everybody wants to be the next Reagan.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's the next Reagan.
I like to think of this as only 9 years away from the end of the Trump presidency. There we are now. I apologize. I stole that joke from, I'm not sure who, but I was not the person who came up with that.
Was it The Late Show?
I think possibly, yes. I might have stolen that from Stephen Colbert. If we stole it from somebody else, we apologize to who you are. If we stole it from Stephen, we apologize to Steve.
Stephen Colbert.
Yeah. We will hopefully be talking about him in in a later episode where we're just going to be discussing more casual topics.
We'll definitely be talking about the outcome of the debate, probably.
Yeah. Also, do you think the debate will be harsher or lighter to the Republicans? Because obviously we've said a Fox News debate, so you'd think...
Oh man, Bush and Trump arguing. I think they're going to argue. Well, Bush not as much, but I think Trump's
So you think this will be harsh between the candidates themselves?
Between everyone.
So obviously, I think just between the hosts of the debate, I think
Is Megan? No, it's CNN.
CNN. So I feel Fox News tried to be really harsh to kind of try to do what they can to break out of the mold that they are the conservative mouthpiece. Mm-hmm. Which I don't think they ever will be able to do.
No, not in this country. No.
Oh no, But I don't know if they can. I think it will be, but definitely. I mean, the gloves are off. If you've seen, Bobby Jindal recently commented that Donald Trump looks like he has a squirrel in his head. Oh yes, and Donald Trump has been hammering at Fiona and non-stop, just hammering Bush.
Ridiculous.
I mean, however, Ben Carson has adopted a policy of basically he will not be going after any other candidates.
That's awesome.
Which
I
like
him a lot.
I liked him a lot in the game, but I didn't really think he was going to be able to gain traction. Now that he is growing on me.
Definitely.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm bandwagoning, but I think he's definitely
he appeals
to potential, and he's beating Bush, who I thought was going to be the strong second behind Trump. I
still think he'll get the nomination.
You think Bush will? I also think in the end, I think Bush still has a very strong.
Something
chance.
will happen to Trump. I can predict, and he'll just fall out.
If Trump gets the nomination, the election goes to Hillary. It's basically how it goes. So
I wouldn't say so.
Or well, it'll go to the Democrats, we can say.
Well, whoever runs, I guess, against. If it's
Yeah.
Hillary, I think Trump could win.
We will be discussing Hillary slightly later. But, actually, we may want to switch around those, or let's just keep with the order we stated in the beginning.
You want to talk about Pope Francis?
Well, first let's just finish with the debate. So you think that it'll be Trump on Bush? You'd like just war, but fair.
Yeah, you know what's ironic about that? It's the Reagan Library, and Reagan always said his 11th commandment was not to, fight between each other in the Republican Party. And man, has that gone away.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if, I think Carson may try to use that to his advantage.
I think you can point that out.
Stop fighting. Because Carson has clearly been shown to kind of be one of the cooler-headed candidates, or one of the cooler-headed politicians we've seen.
I don't think he's ever mocked anyone.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I love him. He might. I'm starting to like him a little bit more than Bush, but I want to, keep my hands on Bush.
I like him. I feel just Bush has probably the most experience in politics in general.
He's an outsider.
Carson is an outsider, which also could definitely help him for people who hate
But so is Trump.
politicians.
So.
Trump is also an outsider, but Trump is Trump.
That's true.
Carson is not Trump.
Carson is definitely not Trump.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
But speaking of Congress, a person who will be speaking to Congress later this month, I believe.
Pope Francis is speaking to Congress?
Pope Francis, I believe so. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So Pope Francis will be visiting the U.S. In the coming month. And so do you think, so are you a fan of Pope Francis?
Definitely not.
You are not a Francis
He
fan.
is the most left-wing liberal pope I've ever seen. And you must agree with me.
I will definitely, I'm not saying I don't like him, but I will say he is definitely the most liberal pope out of...
I don't like him because he's
out of
liberal,
all
because of what
three
he
popes
says.
that I can remember, that I was alive for, and out of just, I guess, all popes ever, he has clearly been the most liberal pope.
Yeah, well, it's not because he's the liberal that I don't like him, it's because of what he says.
What specifically don't you like about Pope Francis?
For starters, he, back in, when he went to Paraguay and he was visiting all those South American countries, he went there, and he was advocating that money was like the devil's greed or something like that. Obviously, love of money is
the root of all evil.
He called for the redistribution of wealth several times.
So yeah, redistribution of wealth, that is...
Which is communist. Pretty communist.
Which I think, again, is ironic, obviously, because communist is atheist.
Exactly. Well, yeah, he's contradicting his own beliefs.
Well, I don't think he's contradicting his own beliefs. I mean, they're obvious. Well, socialist. They're socialist Christians, obviously.
Definitely.
I think he's making the Catholic Church more popular. I don't agree with everything that he's saying, but even if you're saying with money is evil, that wasn't Pope Francis who said that.
And he talks about climate change. He acknowledges how climate change is real.
You don't like that?
Climate change is not real.
Okay. I will not totally agree with you on that point.
I'm a conservative person on this show, I guess.
Center right, man. But with Pope Francis now, but again, with the money is evil, I don't agree with. I believe love of money is the root of all evil. That wasn't Pope Francis who came up with that. That was Jesus who said that.
That's true. That's true.
It was stated in the Bible. Because I don't want to. I believe it was. I apologize. I'm currently reading the Old Testament, not the New Testament at the moment. I need to brush up on it. I'm just, I am taking a Bible study class, seminary, you call it.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm in the Old Testament. But he's back to Pope Francis. Do you think he is going to, Because I mean, obviously, the Catholic Church has been taking some major hits in the past couple of years.
Oh yeah.
Majority of American Catholics who identify as Catholic aren't regular Sunday goers.
No.
Or every Sunday.
Christmas and
Priesters.
Easter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The Christian movement has been growing, but I don't think he's gonna. I think it's gonna be very hard to get people to come back to church, which unfortunately I don't know if any pope will be able to do.
No.
But I think he's been doing things that are making him much more popular. I mean, he's extremely popular with non-Catholics.
Extremely likable.
And he's a very likable guy, and he's making reforms to the church that make him more popular.
Yep.
With he's recently made, or he will, starting in December, divorces will become more easier to be annulled, or marriage will become more easier to become annulled. Abortions will now be forgiven by priests.
Period.
Well, yes, in the year of mercy, as he's calling it. But obviously, like, he's not like going full out saying abortion is okay, divorce is okay. So he's not like totally violating very traditional Catholic doctrine.
But you won't be excommunicated.
Because
usually you are excommunicated.
Yes, you are. I believe so. But now, if the person is has a contrite spirit, I believe was the wording, is truly remorseful over what they did, because obviously the church is still opposed to abortion.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think it's. I can't give you. Neither of us can really give you the Catholic perspective, as neither of us are Catholics.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But I think he is also. It is kind of causing a bit of a divide, though, with conservative Catholics, or I guess more conservative Catholics, not really being too pleased with his teachings, and liberal Catholics are loving it. However, this could lead to the issue of more liberal Catholics aren't exactly the most devout Catholics, as we've seen, as just from the U.S. perspective, I would say.
His visit's going to be
it is huge.
Huge. His tickets, here's a fact for our viewers, his tickets that were sold on eBay for free, 10,000 of them?
Were given away for free, are being sold on eBay for thousands?
And all those tickets that they had on there on eBay were sold within 30 seconds. I think it was 10,000 of them.
Oh yeah, it is.
30 seconds, and now people are selling them on eBay for upwards of $500.
It's, again, love of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, for real.
A little ironic considering it's a Pope. But yeah, so I think he could kind of be the reverse Benjamin Netanyahu coming to speak to Congress, which could be interesting, because obviously he seems to be supporting much more of a liberal agenda, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking to Congress, whereas Congress went and got Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, who is very opposed to the Iran nuclear deal, to speak to Congress.
Part of the Likud party, very right-wing political party.
No, I wouldn't say very right-wing.
They're pretty far right.
Yeah. But, so yeah, I mean, this could, and obviously if we just want to briefly touch on the Iran deal, which I believe Pope Francis has stated he probably supports.
Yeah.
Which could be
Wouldn't surprise me.
But it seems the Iran deal, there is no stopping it now, which
not.
I am not too pleased with.
Me either.
I think a deal with Iran is a very smart idea. I think the deal we got was not the best.
Very bad deal. Very bad negotiators.
Yeah.
We got almost nothing.
We got nothing, we didn't get nothing, but we got very little, and we have now shown Iran that we are willing to take very little.
And now we're caving in.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same issue we faced with Cuba, with Russia. Yes, it's just
very weak, very.
I wrote an 8-page essay on why I think the Iran deal is bad, and oh man.
So did you have a liberal teacher? Is this for English?
It was for English last year. We had to write an essay on just some topic that was very important to us. So I didn't
imagine.
Oh yeah,
how that would have went.
Well, I
did she like it?
I got an A on it.
I thought there'd be some bias, but.
Well, no, she did not comment whatsoever on my the content. The only thing I got points off for was, I believe, MLA format. So.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So yeah, I will work on my MLA format and hopefully. So yeah, but back to more politics with Miss Clinton.
The Clinton campaign.
Oh yes,
it's going. Ooh.
It is not doing well, but she is doing whatever she can. She is pulling out all the stops to show more heart and humor, according to her aides.
In the most,
again, we stole that from
in the most recent poll from ABC.
Yeah,
Look at the primaries. Bernie is beating her by 20 in New Hampshire.
I know, it is.
And beating her in Iowa by 10.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous. The only place she's not, or Bernie Sanders isn't winning. Yeah, because they're more centered Democrats. So that's why Hillary's kind of winning there, and that would make sense.
But yeah, I mean, when we said feel the burn, we thought she was feeling it back then. Oh, she is feeling it now.
Oh my God. I wonder how she feels.
I
wonder if she acknowledges Bernie as a threat.
Oh, she definitely already has to acknowledge him as a threat. I mean,
her campaign managers might, but I wonder if she really cares about Bernie Sanders.
You don't think she considers Bernie to be a threat?
I think she has too big of an ego.
I think she definitely. I think she definitely will acknowledge that Bernie.
She'll acknowledge that Bernie Sanders is running and that he's like a decent candidate, but I don't think she thinks
I think she considers him a threat, but not a big threat.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I think what she feels she can probably handle Bernie by just going farther left and trying to act, I don't know, more approachable, I guess. But yeah, I mean, she is going to be definitely needing to pull out all the stops to try to gain back her footing. But it is, do you think that she will eventually drop out? If it starts to get really bad with the email scandal, do you think there's any chance she will drop out?
I'm trying to remember what happened in 2008. What made her drop out?
I
know Barack Obama was just doing really well.
She failed to distinguish Barack's rising star.
When did she drop out?
She dropped out very later.
That's what
later.
Very late in the campaign.
Yeah, she dropped out very late in the campaign. I am not super
well versed. 2008, right? But
yes,
summer or spring of 2008?
That was. I want to say summer, actually.
She stuck around.
Possibly.
After did she go to the convention? I felt like she said she was vowed to go to the convention to fight for her.
So. Unfortunately, I think we need to look this up. We need to do more research into it. So that was the first campaign that I really presidential campaign that I actually understood what it meant. And I remember Bush Kerry, but I don't. All I remember was that there was.
What do you mean understand the campaign in 2008? You mean
I understood that there were Republicans and Democrats, and that Obama and McCain.
Okay, I got you.
In 2004, I just knew the president.
I didn't even know 2004
is running for election against a guy named John Kerry.
Never heard about.
That's all I knew.
Never heard about 2004.
I wanted Bush.
2008, I voted for McCain when we had this thing in school.
You voted for McCain? I thought you voted for Obama.
I voted for Obama in 2012.
Oh no, yeah, I was McCain Romney man.
I didn't like Romney.
I
didn't like McCain either, but
I liked McCain.
I liked Romney more than McCain, but
I liked. That's hard. I would almost say I would say they're equal. I won't say I liked McCain more than I liked Romney. I liked Romney. I think Romney would have been a better president than Obama. I think McCain would have been a better president than Obama.
I think McCain would have been worse, but I think Romney would have been better.
Do you think McCain would have been better if he had won the nomination in 2000? Do you think he would have won?
Against Al Gore?
Against Al Gore?
No.
You don't think he would have?
I think John McCain's more conservative than George W. Bush.
No. John McCain is liberally prone. He has gone both ways in terms of policies. He's supported liberal policies before. He's not total centrist, but I would say he is more left leaning than Bush was. All right, so
he just didn't appeal to me.
Okay. All right. So let's move on. We want to try to keep this a little bit brief. Also, the phone we're recording with is starting to get low on battery. Yeah. All right. So September 11th is obviously this past
3 days ago.
Yep. And horrible day that changed the entire world.
They call it the post 9/11 era for a reason.
I mean, yeah. I think when you really look at the world changing, the big turning point was not New Year's on
2000. Y2K.
Y2K was not that. It was 9/11 that you really need to consider the pre 9/11 world and the post 9/11 world, not the 20th and 21st centuries.
They're a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, huge difference. Obviously, the global war on terror, which does not seem to have any end in sight, and only seems like it could be picking up again.
Yep. And a lot more, restrictions based on us. Say what you want, and the Patriot Act and all that. And I think there's a lot more, maybe a little bit more censorship.
I don't know about censorship, but I have said
we're a little bit less free.
Yes, I would say we're less free because of that, and also now we've, in some ways, we've become a lot more PC too. If you want to go censor, I wouldn't say we censor, but I say we're much more PC to where it's. I guess you could say censorship, but not in the more traditional sense.
I'd say we've gone a lot more liberal.
I will say it is surprising. You'd think it would make us more conservative, but in the long term,
We got
the
more
liberal pushback to the conservative boom was so strong that we're still feeling the effects of the liberal pushback.
I think that might have been part because of the global war on terror.
I think so. Well, because obviously the Iraq War,
they thought it was ridiculous.
Liberals just did nonstop, just hammering into George Bush and the conservative agenda.
Yep.
And I think it just the policies that have been enacted have definitely led to the big divide between right and left America.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And I think that was kind of one of the big turning points in it, because it obviously resulted in kind of the effects of the global war on terror, the Iraq War, and things. And so yeah, huge event. Do you think if 9/11 hadn't occurred, would George Bush have been reelected?
No.
You don't think he would have been?
I think it would have been so bad in domestic policy, it would have just crashed and burned.
I don't think he would have
got reelected.
I personally, I think people, his
People
response
really
to 9/11 was
Bush,
able to kind of,
and they liked the Iraq War in 2003.
Yes,
and that really pushed
supported
up
the war
things.
then.
But then it was
the liberals just hammered into it so intensely.
And when war wasn't on the top of their minds, that's when it really started to go down in the second term. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he would have got reelected. Personally, his approval ratings would have been.
Yeah, and that's conservatives just don't have enough support to combat that.
Exactly.
Where the majority of the media, I would say, is more left leaning, and to compensate, you have Fox News becoming extremely far right, which isn't really helping them.
Not really, because then it makes people think that all conservatives are like Fox News, which we're not.
Yeah,
we're not.
Some parts of what we like, but we are not. We do not.
Fascists.
Yeah.
Fox News isn't fascist.
They're fascists. Yeah, but I mean, I like Brian Williams. I don't think he should have been kicked off the air.
He's on MSNBC now.
Yeah, he is.
As one of the lower ranking hosts.
Yeah, it's going to be awkward.
Yeah, it is.
But 9/11 was just, it's the impact. We will definitely try to go into more detail at a later date on just how much
we'll definitely have a special
impact it's had into it. Well, I wouldn't.
We could do.
Well, I
definitely
just
touch
special,
on it in
I think,
more
is the
detail.
wrong word, but yeah. More detail. All right, so I guess we'll just move from that horribly sad topic to a less sad topic. But
still pretty sad.
Well, not sad, just less depressing.
Yeah.
To China's economy, which, well, depending if you hate China, it's the greatest news you've heard in a while.
Yeah.
The China's economy is not doing so well, as you've seen.
No, they're crashing.
China's economy is definitely slowing down.
And it had an effect on us when things were crashing.
But it also was shown that we are it's a global, the world is getting flatter. It is no longer, what happens in China, it affects us now.
Everyone around the world now will feel it.
So China is still, it's not like China is all of a sudden having a massive economic downturn. It's just not going as fast as we thought it was going.
Right.
So do you think that this will kind of shake China's standing in the world?
No, I don't think so.
You think they're going to recover pretty well from it?
I think they'll recover. They have a huge chance. China is a growing country, and you can acknowledge that it's growing.
Oh, well, yeah.
Hugely.
They have to literally impose. They're the anti-Germany in terms of population growth. They have to impose restrictions because they have too many people.
Exactly. I don't think because I don't know how much debt China has.
I don't.
They probably have surplus for all we know.
China's doing extremely. And the other thing is also, I think, with the U.S., we're in so much infighting over so many issues that we're so very much into a domestic social agenda is one of our big things that we care about. Whereas China, I guess, one of the quote-unquote advantages of the one-party state is that people don't really get a say in what's going on. Right. So the government can really focus on expanding worldwide and getting into footholds and things. But do you think this kind of shows an inherent weakness in the Communist Party?
I think so.
Do you think this could contribute to an eventual... I don't think no. The party is never going to give up power, at least not.
Yeah, not China.
For
it's so
decades. The party is going to hold on to its power. There's just not enough really
need to take it over.
Well, yeah. Obviously, I think China would be better under a capitalist and democracy.
I think so too.
But it's not like North Korea, where I think a coup is a realistic possibility within 20 years.
Not by the North Koreans.
I think could possibly see some high-level government officials overthrowing Kim Jong.
I couldn't see the people rising up because they're so brainwashed.
Oh yeah, I don't see the people rising up, but I can definitely see North Korea ceasing to exist in its current form, at least in the next 20 years.
But China's growing,
China's growing. The Communist Party, it's dying. I think I feel China would be doing better under a non-communist system, but it's not exactly starving under a communist system.
That's true.
But I think this definitely kind of shows that the world is very interconnected, and
and we're all part of one big community.
But also, I feel this, and just with China, it kind of shows that the U.S. we need to start caring about issues just more about world issues, because I think we do have the big issue of we're very focused on tension. I think we really need to work, both sides in Congress and just politicians need to work together to find just compromise on some of these social issues that are just occupying so much time when they don't need to be.
Right.
We're going to be able to kind of work together and find a solution that kind of makes as many people as we can happy in terms of, immigration, and just other social issues.
Yep.
So
that's a really good point.
Yeah, we need to see compromise, like Henry Clay said. Henry Clay, the great compromiser of the early 1800s.
Was that? I don't remember. Was that good, or did that just lead to the Civil War?
Well, no. Henry Clay was a politician there. He was able to. No, Henry Clay was a very popular politician, especially in our 8th grade social studies class.
From Kentucky, right? Was he from Kentucky?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And just very big on compromise. The Missouri Compromise is one of those big things. And I think we need to start compromising, but not in a way that prevents a growing conflict, but just that kind of solves these issues altogether, finishes them. So we can start focusing on keeping America as the greatest country on earth.
That's very good.
All right.
That's very good. Well, should we talk about the future of the show just quickly?
All right. So let's just touch on a couple of topics. So we are hopefully, this video may or may not, if you're watching this, have some visuals with it. Hopefully it will. A couple of just pictures. So we are currently working on building a set, and won't be not a great set.
It'll be very basic.
Yeah, and I think set might not be the best word to say. It makes it seem like we're very professional.
It's a good place to record.
A background because we will hopefully be working on filming us sometime soon, so you guys have something to look at other than just us. We're trying to branch out into a couple things. We're going to be trying to do a kind of, a mini podcast on just
whatever we want to talk about. Just fun times.
Just if you guys like that.
Not always.
If you don't like it, you might not. Just so we have something to do. I mean, right now, it's based on our 5 viewers per video. We're kind of doing this for us at the moment. But we would like to maybe start do briefer short question and answer type videos, 5 minutes at most type things.
Maybe, yeah, definitely.
That sort of thing. Shorter videos, maybe focusing on other topics. Please tell us what you think in the comment section below, all 5 of you viewers.
If you want we need a producer.
Yeah, we would like to get some positions and editors, producers.
Well, that can all be one thing.
Yeah.
But we would definitely want someone
to help us out. We're hopefully trying to launch our website sometime soon.
Definitely. I'm almost done with that.
Yep, Jack has been working on that. I've been working on if you see any visuals here, hopefully you'll see that. And the introduction that you will have hopefully heard at the beginning of this video was made. I spliced together these sound bits, but of course,
thanks to Will Carlson.
Thank you to Will Carlson.
Very good guy.
Yes,
very great voice.
Oh my gosh.
I wish I was there to be there.
Will Carlson is an amazing voice actor. He is I hope he doesn't. He's a extremely smart guy, so I hope he doesn't have to rely on his voice for a job. But I mean, he has a pretty automatic fallback career if things don't work out, whatever he decides to go. And if he doesn't at least do something with his voice,